Say What They Can't radio.
We got a lot in common. We laugh, we cry, we have lots of options, but there's healing when we just start talking. There's healing when we just start talking. Don't be afraid. Start off your day with the Leslie T. Marshall Experience.
Welcome to the Leslie T. Marshall Experience. I am here today with the legendary Berry Goodz. Mr. Kareem, welcome to the Leslie T. Marshall Experience. It's so good to have you today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, we love to have you today, sir. So I grew up in East New York, and this gentleman, even though I was on the other side, he was in Brownsville, from Brownsville, right?
Exactly.
I was from East New York. I never got to meet him, but we have a few friends in common. So they call you a legend out there. So why is it that they call you a legend?
Just being in good standards with people. You know, been around.
Okay.
Just been around.
All right. What does that mean? You've been around. You grew up in Brownsville. How was that for you growing up? I know what it was like in East New York. What was it like in Brownsville?
The Brownsville experience was just the same as East New York. It really was. It's the same tough guys you had over there with the same tough guys we had in Brownsville. And we all knew each other in some fashion.
Okay, so they had a lot of bullies. They had a lot of bullies on my side. Were you a bully or did you get bullied?
I wasn't a bully. I would say that.
You wasn't a bully?
I wasn't a bully and didn't get bullied. So I was middle ground. I was a protector. I didn't like bullies.
Okay.
I really didn't get along with bullies at all. Even though some people felt I was a bully in some fashion. But those who really know me know I wasn't nowhere near a bully.
But you protected yourself.
Protected myself.
Definitely. And you grew up, I would say, around the crack era.
The crack era, yes. Definitely. Grew up in the crack era and survived it.
I love it. We'll go into that a little more. So I was listening to some of your music the other day. You have some great beats, right? I love to follow the storyline.
Salute the DR period.
Shout out to who?
My brother DR period. Big brother DR period. He's a producer for MOP, Nas, AZ, Queen Latifah, Jackson 5. His list just goes on. So
Okay.
He's the guy who put this project together and we ran with it. One of his famous songs is Annie Up. If y'all know Annie Up.
Yeah.
You know, More Money, More Homicide, Nas and AZ. So he's of Hey Ma from Cameron. He's that guy.
Okay. So how do you come up with your lyrics? Is it something you get into the studio when you hear your music or you write before you go in? How does that go?
For this particular project, this EP, DR wanted me to dig more into who I was.
Okay.
So each song was set up with a thing to do.
Okay.
The beat was made right there on the spot, and I was sent home with a thing to do list with this particular beat, and came back the next day or the next week or whatever the case was, and I tried to hit home as best as possible of what my thing to do was for that particular beat.
Okay, nice. Well, I'm more like this new rap. I'm not really into this new rap, but I'm old fashioned. I was born in the 70s, so I kind of like, I like your flow, your hip hop.
Okay.
I heard a little bit of your gangster stuff too, but I'm more on the other side of it, the one that's telling the story. Coming from East New York, it's a lot of things in your story that I relate to. So one of your first songs that I really enjoy is You Up,
Okay.
right? I like that a lot.
Another morning free, me doing me and far from what it used to be. Got a whole lot of family heavenly, praying that they smiling down to me. 10-toe down, 16 in, 14 out. Focus is the gym. Now
All right, let's talk about that. Let's talk about You Up. So what I do is I listen to the music in certain parts. It's just like you listen to a good movie. You watch a good movie. You like a good movie. You go back, you watch it. You hear something you never heard before.
Right.
So one of the parts that I really like, what I got out of the song is basically you're reminding us to get up. To get up regardless what's going on. Whatever might be trying to hold you back, whatever you've been through, is that, because I heard you said another morning free, right?
Exactly.
And I noticed in a few of your songs, you mentioned being free like several times. So we're going to go back into that, but that's going to tell us that you did a little time.
Exactly.
All right. So we'll go back to that. I heard you say count your blessings, count our blessings.
Gotta count your blessings.
Okay. You talk about being loyal as a friend. So I want to ask
Exactly.
you, what is being loyal as a friend?
Eh, being a friend, being a good friend. You know, you not all the time you will probably live up to what that standards of what your friend may be expecting of you, but you bring as much to the table as possible on that friendship level. Like me, I have a lot of friends that not even my tightest of friends that I do that I'm still a friend to.
Okay.
I have guys that's still in prison that wasn't even my tightest of friends, but I still go see. Then I got guys still in prison that wasn't even my tightest of friends that I accept phone calls from.
Okay.
I have guys that wasn't even my tightest of friends that I send money to. So
Nice.
just about being a friend, a friend is not always that bond for. It's just
Okay.
like just being someone's go-to, and you have the ability to be the go-toer.
Okay.
You know?
I get it. I get it. Another lyric you have there is life is not always going to be smiling. And that's something I have to remind myself because I prefer that every day was happy-go-lucky. But
Right.
life is not always going to be smiling. And that's the reality of it, right? Learn going through the messes.
Right.
So I like that.
Yeah. So that line is as you see, is it speaks volume. You know, a lot of us wake up and we're angry throughout the day, but we miss the biggest part of the blessing was that we got up. You got a lot of people who didn't get up. You got a lot of people who don't have a roof over their head. So you woke up,
Yes.
and you had a roof over your head, and you was able to eat breakfast. Where you have people who don't have a roof over their head, couldn't eat breakfast, and didn't have the basic necessity that you take for granted.
I get it.
So that line was put in there to wake you up and say, stop being so down about things
Little.
that the next person would love to be in.
Okay, I love it. So some people would call me a softie. They wouldn't even really believe that I would even listen. But like again, I said I'm a hip hop head. This new rap, when you can't understand and it's not telling the story, it's not for me. Not just because you're a nice guy. I really have enjoyed listening to your lyrics. Not just
Thank
for this
you, thank
interview.
you.
You're welcome. But I have to ask because some of it does touch my emotion. Growing up in East New York, seeing the guys on my block hanging on the corner. Some of them dead. Some of them turned their lives around. Some of them never turned their lives around. Some of them got on drugs, but those are the guys that we admired. Those were the guys
Right.
on our corner. They had money. Those were the guys that had the nice cars. They had the jewelry. They had the clothes, and they were popular back then. Everybody didn't make it out, right?
Right.
So I'm asking you, do you consider yourself an emotional person?
I'm born under the Cancer sign. So they say as Cancer,
What does that
we're
mean, Mr.
emotional.
Kareem?
I don't know. That's what the horoscope aspect of it says, that as a Cancer you are emotional. So I would have to believe that I'm emotional in some sense, but me knowing that I can't be emotional is how it's not always outwardly seen no more.
Okay.
You know, like I mastered the fact that I know I can't be emotional. So it's like when you know something, you know how to guard it a little different now because you know it's naturally there.
Okay. I love it. So I have to say two more with this song because there's a lot. You drop a lot of little nuggets. If you're listening, some people listen to the music and that's all they hear. The beat is nice, but I really love the lyrics because it speaks to me. So you say the messes, the lessons, looking at the system, trustless. Do you feel like the system failed you or failed a lot of people?
The system failed a lot of people, and it's continuously to fail a lot of people. You know, there is a saying that they have out to the world that the people go into prison and supposed to be reprogrammed in some fashion to
Right.
come out
Right.
better than they do.
Right.
And you would think that the prison system have all these things set up for you to
Right.
come out to be a
Right.
better person.
Right.
But in actuality, that's not the case.
Right.
A lot of people that come out of prison better is because they made a conscious decision to be better than what they were when they went in. It really had nothing to do with the structure of what prison set up for them to be better. It's just that they made a conscious decision
Right.
to be much better. They
Right.
wised up due to that mishap of circumstances and made themselves better.
It's funny that you would say that. I heard a guy say the other day, I was watching an interview, and he said that prison saved his life. It said it saved his life, not going through everything that happened there, but it kept him off the street. So for that, how would you relate to that statement?
I have a saying that I tell to people all the time. prison for me was a blessing in disguise. If it wasn't for that stop in life, there's no telling how much of a grasp that the streets would have had on me. I was forced into the prison system by a greater power that knew that I needed to be slowed down for a minute in some sense.
Wow.
Because if really, that's just the honest fact of it. If it wasn't for prison, I wouldn't have had a time to get to know me.
Okay.
The streets have you moving in such a pace that you really have no understanding of what's happening to you until it's too late.
Okay.
So prison allowed myself to sit down and really grasp what was happening with me. And a lot of your thoughts catch up to you in prison because your body stops. Once your body stops, it allows your conscious thought to finally catch up to you. So now you start remembering things, jewels that your grandma dropped on you. You remember jewels that your mom dropped. You remember jewels of the old time on the corner used to drop on you. Late at night, those things hit you out of nowhere, late at night while you're sitting up in the cell, and it catch up to you, and it starts making sense on what they meant when they were saying these kind things or to all these wise things to you.
What they were trying to tell you.
What they were trying to tell you that you couldn't see. It starts to sink in, and it catches you out of nowhere when your body, on the eye, when my body was allowed to be stopped from the motion, and my conscious thoughts caught up with me.
That's deep. I wish I can go all day on these songs, and I know we can't be here all day, but the last one that I'll say about this particular song that I really like, because I heard it and I was like, wait, did I hear what I heard? I had to rewind it. It says, fighting these demons, my apology for me, for we, for humanity. And I love that.
I had to take responsibility that
that's what I heard.
I wasn't just wrecking myself. I was wrecking my community. I was wrecking society as a whole. I was wrecking my little brother. I was wrecking my young cousin. I was wrecking people that grew up on the block with me that looked up to me in some fashion. So I had to apologize to myself, to them, and the society that was affected by it.
I love it, because when I heard that, what I heard was you take accountability.
It was definitely taking accountability.
There's no way that you could go back to each and every person that you ever, felt that you could owe an apology to, but that was just a public statement. I'm sorry. I got it together. I'm getting it together. I'm working on it. I'm working on me, right?
Exactly.
So just to take a break, for that's kind of heavy, tell me what makes you sad, what makes you cry, what makes you happy?
What makes me sad? I don't really get sad for me.
Okay.
I get sad when I see other people going through things that they seem to have no grasp on fixing themselves. So I'm so desensitized for myself that I don't basically get sad about nothing. I get sad about is really about me.
Okay.
It's always about what somebody else is going through. I think I done built myself up in a way where just about nothing really bothers me on the eye.
Okay.
What bothers me is that you're hurt.
Okay.
What bothers me is that he's hurt. What bothers me is that our society is being hurt.
Okay.
But nothing really.
All right. What makes you happy?
Wow, it makes me happy. Seeing people smile, seeing others smile, seeing catching up with people that I know, and we just have a good time. There's a lot of things that make me smile. Seeing a kid smile makes me smile,
I love it. That's beautiful. So we're going to get into the meat and potatoes, sir. It's no military secret. You did some time. I want to ask you what led you there. How old were you? When did it start? From listening to your lyrics, I don't know if we'll have a time to get to that song, but I heard in one of your songs you said that you made a metaphor like you were playing Skelly. Next thing, somebody offered you to sell some crack. You sold some crack and you made $100 and you never went back. And I know a lot of men, a lot of boys from back in my day did that. Could you tell us a little bit, like, how did you fall into the system? I think you said you ended up doing 16 years. Was it consecutive?
16 consecutive years.
Okay. Tell us about that, please.
Not concurrent. You would say concurrent. It's not the word consecutive. You just make it concurrent years. In other words, I went in
show because I didn't know, but I appreciate you.
Yes, it's concurrent. So it's the fact that I went in that 1 year and came out so many years later.
Wow.
So it was a concurrent start that year and went consistently into
so it was straight
up into 16 years.
Okay,
yes.
And how did you get there? How old were you when you first went in?
I went in at the age of 17. 16, 17 rather, and I went in for a manslaughter. I went in for drugs. I went in for weapon possessions.
Okay.
And by the grace of Allah, I was able to utilize that time to come out a better person due to it. You know, just all hands down. Prison was really a blessing in disguise that I didn't know I needed, but it pans out. You know, as you see the fruit of the labor of it. Like today, I'm like so. People are astounded with the person I became, especially when they knew who I was. You know?
I love it. Did you have a lot of support when you were in prison?
A lot of. I was not the one worried about who was in my life at the time.
Okay.
I know I was there for something I did, so I didn't get angry with the people who didn't keep in touch as much as they probably could have. You know, I was wise enough to not hold people accountable for something I did.
Okay, smart.
You know, so I had support, but as time go on, people have their own lives. So, you know, a lot of people disappeared, then they pop back up in your life, then they disappear again.
Right.
And for me, I was happy each time anybody helped walk me through that stage of prison.
Okay.
You know, and whether they were there for a year and disappeared and came back, whatever it was, whatever 6 months, 2 months, whatever it was, I was appreciative of all those people in the greatest of words.
And that was interesting to learn because, you know, you're friends with one of my cousins and he just did 31 years. And
Yes.
I thank God for that, for his release. And I felt bad when he first got out because for his first few years, I used to write him all the time. I used to write and then life happened. Then I had babies. Then I had a child's father that was crazy. And then life just started happening. And then it's like, you don't write as you used to and then you stop. And then, you know, I kind of felt guilty. Like, where do I pick back up writing? And then I had said to one of his friends, like, you know, I hope he's not mad at me. He said, please, he's appreciative to any time you did,
Right.
you know, with him. So I thank you. Berry, I wanted to ask you, tell us about your clothing line. I see you have it on right now, classically branded. That's an excellent, you're a classic type of guy. How'd you come up with that name?
The classically branded was created out of a classic picture. I was at a birthday party for one of my one of my mentors, one of my big bros, and we all took a picture. And the next day, I was looking at the picture, and I was looking at all these street legends, all these old time legends that was in the picture. And you know, on your phone, you get these apps where you can write on the picture.
Yes.
So I wrote on the picture off the app. I said, you know, I wrote the word classically branded, and the way I written it on the picture, it was inscripted. And from that day, when I went to look at it again with it written, classically, it was like classically brand. Matter of fact, I could say I misspelled the word. I spelled the word how I wanted it to sound.
Okay.
You know, but when you look in the definition, that word is still a real word.
Right.
Even though it's written from the word. Like most people take it as classically.
Okay.
It's a real word, but classic is also a word in this
Exactly.
as well. So me looking at that, the way it was written on that picture is what made me, the word stuck in my head.
Okay.
And when the next day, I'm a person of action. The next day, when I noticed how dope that wording was written, I went and patent or I went and imprinted the word. I went and put an LLC behind the word,
Right.
and I ran with it ever since.
And it's been doing good. I see a lot of people
Yes.
wear classically branded on Facebook. It looks really, really well.
Oh,
The
thank
Leslie
you.
T. Marshall Experience has to purchase one from you because I believe in
Yes,
supporting.
yes,
Oh, you got the
yes.
hat on too. Go
Yes,
ahead and show up
you
on my
know.
show. Get your
Yeah.
Mr. Publicity. So I want to jump into another song that I really, really, really enjoy. It's called Life Lessons, right?
Life lessons.
Yeah, could you put on a little bit of that for us really quick? You mind?
Yes.
If you could put it on. So the whole song is dope, right? And I crack up at the beginning because this is the one where you can hear the person being your grandmother trying to stop you from being on the streets. And
Right.
that's a lot of people's story. Even if it was a girl and she wasn't in the street selling drugs, her grandmother might tell her, girl, don't be going out there with that guy. So it's just so relatable. And then in the beginning, you say every episode was a new drama. So that was nice the way you put that together. Is that all you or is that the people in the studio?
as I said, when DR Period came up with the angle that we was gonna run with this album, he basically wanted me to basically just tell my story. So I was comparing my life to Good Times. The whole theme is compared to Good Times, you know, because they call me Berry Goodz, so it was a good runoff with Good Times. They're like, despite all of the drama that we went through in life, we still had a bunch of good times, despite it. Like no matter what was going on, we made the best of of being in those predicament.
Right.
We still found a good time in some fashion. The block parties, when the black we all wait all summer, we all year long just so summer come around, just to have that one block party.
Yes.
That one block party made up for the
Ride your
whole
bike in the
year.
street, roller skate in the street. Yeah.
Whatever it was, never was. Free lunch, all those, despite everything, there was some fashion that you remember you had a good time. Sneaking into the pools after hours, there was some fashion, Atlantic Towers, won't matter what it was, you found some good times in all of that harsh reality that we was doing.
So let me ask you, I want to say something more about life lessons, but I noticed that you always find the positive side. Have you always been that way?
I don't know if I was always that way, but as long as I remember, I was always that way.
Okay.
I would try to make best do despite how terrible it was.
I understand.
Just had to.
It's probably a coping mechanism. You say you never was pressured into gang life. So how did you get there? What pulled you over? I know it's the money, but in your own words.
No, I was never pressured into gang. And still to this day, I was never pressured into gang life. But I ran with a team of people that was a gang type.
That was the Decepticons?
Nah, not even with Decept. I grew up around Decepts too, but I never was a Decepticon. I ran in their circle. Yeah, okay. My big bro Rumble, God bless the dead. You know, Trent, salute to Trent and them. Salute to Pierre and all these brothers who live on my block. Salute to my you know, just all those guys who started that core of the Decept. I was around them. You know, they was my older mentors and stuff.
That's who you looked up to.
Yeah, we basically looked up to, and a lot of sense they looked up to us because we was the crazy kids from off the block that they had a respect for at the same time.
Okay.
You know?
So I
Scourge, God bless the dead.
You say there was no James Evans, there was no Uncle Phil. So is that saying that you had no positive male role model, male or female? Because in Little Lady you talk about Mucka, who I believe is probably your grandmother or something.
Yes.
So was there no positive role model in the male fashion, or just period, would you say? Or you wasn't hearing them, even though they were there?
We didn't have them.
Okay.
I mean, they tried. Our James Evans, our Uncle Phil's was not like them. In other words, James Evans went to work every day. We didn't have that guy who went to work every day and tried to structure his family to stay out of the street. You know, we didn't have that guy. We didn't have Uncle Phil who was rich and was able to help put you in a dope position, take you from out of the hood and bring you to his house to raise.
Yes.
You know, so we didn't have those, but we had similar ones who didn't have their pedigree of status.
Okay, definitely, I get that. So it's kind of touching. You say, of course, you always say there's many jewels in the lesson, right?
Many jewels.
You said that your mother lost her battle to the street life. So respectfully, you heard it. You heard your mother lost the battle, and then you kind of got pulled into the same battle, just on another side of it, right?
Right. Yes. My mother lost a battle to the street life, but due to the fact she was killed in a violent domestic type of way.
Yes.
I didn't never get the real story of it until I got in my late years in life. But at that time, I didn't know what happened. I didn't know how it happened. I just knew she was killed.
Yes.
So, so she lost her battle to street life, and it's a tragic loss at that time. But I still don't believe I grieved it up until this day the way most would have grieved it.
The loss of a mom.
Yeah, the loss of a mom. I don't believe I grieved it how most would have grieved it. And in fact, I believe, matter of fact, and I don't believe, I know it made me tougher that loss made me tougher than I was the day before it happened.
Wow. I'm gonna get out of your lyrics for right now, but some people look up to you as a mentor. I think I heard you a few weeks back. You were mentoring some young people at a charter school,
Yes.
and you said to them that, "Who do you want to replace?" You said, "Who do you want to?" There's gonna be people leaving this world. Who do you want to replace? Like,
Right.
and I thought that was really dope. Where'd you get that from?
It was something that really just came to mind right then and there. I was put in the position to say something, a wise word to some people a group of individuals that needed to hear something of encouragement. So it just hit me right then and there. It's like, you got to ask yourself, who do you want to replace in life? Are you going to be the next crackhead Joe on the corner? Are you going to be the next whole Jackie on the corner? Or are you going to be your Uncle Phil, who's a lawyer? You're going to be your Aunt Carol, who owns a business.
Yes.
You're going to be
I hear choices
those
there.
choices,
That
you
we
know?
have choices to
Yeah.
make. If you want to be on this side, if you want to be on that side. And I'm going to get out of this song. But one part I like, you says, your mentality was built for the jokes they made. Because I wrote a book. My book is called If I Knew Then. It's on Amazon. Go get it. And I talk about growing up in East New York and my family being poor and us not having the money to buy the fly clothes. And they did make jokes. And sometimes I'd rather not go outside. Like if my father told me to go to the store, I pretend they don't have it because I don't want to go. If I had to spend food stamps, I'm like, I'm not going to that store, or I'm going to wait in the back of the line. And next thing I know, the 3 or 4 people in front of me, they got food stamps too. That's when we used to pull food stamps out the book. But I love when I hear it because it makes me think. You said in your song, because they made fun of me and I was so embarrassed, but you say, in your song, you say, my mentality was built for the jokes they made. And I'm like, well, mine wasn't. How did your mentality get there? Because you have to be very strong to put up, because they made some serious, they would make you feel
joke.
real bad.
Kids are harsh.
Yes.
Especially when they feel like they got more than you.
Yes.
So for me, we were built for the jokes they said. I really got that mentality of being built for the jokes they said from my big cousin Black, my cousin Frank. These dudes they knew how to turn what somebody was ranking on them into a joke back on the person who was throwing the joke on them.
Look at him ranking. That's an old word, ranking on us.
So watching how they handled it made me fall into the same plate of life with like knowing how to handle it. And even, matter of fact, even more so, knowing that eventually I was going to change it.
I love it.
I even that as a kid, I don't care how bad the joke was, it was always in my mind.
It wasn't always
that
going to be like this.
This wasn't always going to be like this.
You
And
preaching now.
I'm going to show you differently by tomorrow. So it's preparing. It was me preparing myself. Matter of fact, my cousins Black and Frank prepared me on how to deal with it before it became detrimental to our life. When people start winning, you can go really.
It could get deep.
You can get deep, right? It could get and mentally scar you forever. But for us, we were able to turn it into laughter and jokes, and we smile from even to this day. We smile.
Laughing on it.
We smile to it to this day. We joke about it to this day.
I have a question. I'm going to go back to one more song and then we're going to get out of here. But I heard you say Allah. Did you find Allah in prison, or did you know about Allah before you went to prison?
I was fortunate to be born and raised into Islam.
Oh,
My name is Kareem Latif Berry. So I've been a Muslim from birth.
All your life.
The only thing that changes what happened with me is that I don't go to the mosque like I need to. I don't pray 5 times a day. I haven't read the Quran in so many years. But what I do in my life is righteous. Every religion base you on being righteous. Every religion base you on being righteous. Mm-hmm. So I move in a righteous sense, despite I don't do all the things that a Muslim does.
Okay. So thank you. I respect that. All right.
Thank you.
So I'm a hopeless romantic, and one of your songs that I really like is Old. I like the video actually, because I'm gonna let you guess. It shows a flashback from back in the days.
Always Down.
Featuring
Miss Sheikah.
And Miss Sheikah, I love her voice. She has a very nice voice.
Yeah, she's dope.
And
she's
she
dope.
seems very playful. I do my research, so I watched a few videos, and she's dope too. She's
yeah,
a
she's
lyricist.
dope.
So I really like her. So I like the video because it references to back in the day. You talk about double dutch and beefers. Like, it really reminds me of my book a little bit because, again, you were on the other side and I was in East New York. But at the same time, we have a lot of similarities. So is this a personal song or is this just like, because it gives me that 80s, 90s vibe like LL Cool J had, I Need Love back in the day. And I know you had a lot going on. You was in them streets. So back in the day, men like you, boys, because you was a boy at the time, that was in the streets. Y'all didn't have one girl. Y'all had one girl and y'all had 7 others, but y'all had a little girlfriend and then y'all had a few other friends because y'all had money. Y'all could split it up, amongst a few. But anyway, this song reminds me of being young. And so tell me about this song. Are you a relationship guy, by the way? Or
yes, I'm a relationship type of guy. Yes.
Okay.
And that song was based on running into people who I had relations in my earlier life and seeing them all these years later due to whatever happened in life. We see each other all the years later. Those memories instantly come back. So that story was drawn out of several people I ran into who I had situations with as a kid, and now I see them later in life, and we kind of, you're kind of happy to see these people despite, even if it wasn't nothing to be rekindled. It's just the fact that it felt good. Yes.
It's about females.
Female, of course.
I just asking because you saying people.
Might check. But listen, that's anything. Anybody can grab something from that story, even if it was a guy or female. But it's the fact that you had something special with them early in life. Y'all went your separate ways for whatever the time span, and then you see each other all these years later, and it's like as soon as you see them, you instantly smile. You instantly got your arms open for a hug. It's like you really, really grateful and happy to see them.
Nice.
You forget what may have even happened that made y'all even go y'all separate ways. It's the fact that that thing just clicks right then and there. Excellent. So that story was drawn up trying to imitate the Slick Ricks with Teenage Love, trying to imitate the LL stories.
I heard it.
That was a genuine, that was a collaboration of all those guys who I seen, or even Houdini on One Love. All those stories was mixed together to formulate that story coming from me.
That's so funny that you say that because I really thought of that, but I didn't know if you would have liked the comparison because it's going a little bit old. But I love it because that's the kind of rap songs I really love, like telling the story.
Yes, I love them guys.
And I love that you have videos, even though it's 2023. A lot of people don't do the videos. Like I want to go see the video that goes with the song to see if those lyrics go exactly with. So
let me tell you, before that song could have been, I went out my way to make. I'm co-director on the video.
Okay.
And I make sure that every aspect of what was being spoken upon was actually depicted into the video aspect of it.
I love it. That's good. So you have your hands in so many paths. And I have to be honest with you. I just reading up and checking into some of your interviews and listening to the full interviews. And I'm like, you hear of a gentleman or lady, they go to prison, and sometimes, sadly, that's the end of that person's story. That person went to prison, and that's it for them. They went to prison, and it's really intriguing to me to see and hear and to learn of all the things that you are involved in. And then you may have things that you deal with on the inside, but it doesn't seem like you portray that on people, that you have a great, disposition about yourself. So.
And that goes from what we spoke about at the very beginning, is being appreciative of life. I'm so appreciative of life. That's like my vocal point when I wake up. I'm so appreciative of life that everything is a go. Even if any bumps after you wake up, any bumps you go throughout that day, it's still a dope appreciation that I connect myself back to. A car accident could happen right now in the mix of, man, you could be upset. And then you think about, damn, I walked away from this car and I'm still here. So it's always continuing. I tell a lot of guys, I always compare what is happening right now with being in the prison yard. That's always going to be my go-to. Oh, man, I ain't got enough money for this pizza. But you know what? It's better being in the prison yard. Get it. I always compare every downtime to, is it better? Would I rather be here or in that prison yard. And it's always hands down, I'd rather be in that moment than to be back in a prison yard.
I love it. Well, as I'm finishing up with that song, I'm a hopeless romantic, so I have to ask you while I have a man in my chair. So, what's wrong with you, men? Why you guys, not you per se, speak for your brothers, right? Why they just can't do the right thing? Why, in your song, you talk about forever in that song. Why can't y'all just do the right thing? Why do women have to go through so much drama with y'all men? Come on now. Why you so
I'm going to speak for myself,
Please.
and I'm going to speak for my brothers.
Please do. And while you're doing that, think of some nice, handsome guy, because this might be my year. So think of a good, handsome guy that you could introduce me to.
Here's the jewel to all women across the world.
Yes.
You could be pretty. You could know how to cook. You could do all that, have money, all that.
Mm-hmm.
None of that would really equate to if you really have the ability to protect your man's sanity. If you can protect your man's sanity,
Be his peace, in other words.
be his peace,
Yes.
that opens all doors. You can have all that other extra, but if you could protect your man's sanity, that's where he will appreciate you the most. Because no matter what happens when he's outside that door of house, and he's running the street,
Right.
he loves to get back to a bed setting
Yeah.
or a home setting,
Yeah.
and his sanity is protected instead of more chaos added on to the insane world.
So do you think a lot of men are fumbling, and even women fumbling the bag because their peace is not there? Is that so? There's nothing about being greedy or selfish or just wanting their cake.
Let's be
and eating it
honest.
too.
Let's be honest.
Do that for me.
Let's be honest. It's not, don't take it personally. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Even if it's not on the you or the her,
Yes.
you know for a friend your homegirl is crazy in some sense.
Okay.
You know for a fact your homegirl is a nagger in some
Yes,
sense.
yes.
You know for a fact that your girl friend fights that don't need to be fought.
Yeah.
That right there alone is deteriorating a man's sanity.
It's a turn off.
It's a total turn off. Even he'll get turned off and then get turned back on as time, because time heals
and
wounds.
forth.
So you got to go back home. So it's back in. But I'm telling you, if you could protect my sanity, you got me forever.
Good.
That is just it. My sanity. I don't need the unnecessary bickering. I don't need the unnecessary wars about things. I need somebody, or we men need that go-to where I can say you're my best friend.
I heard that before.
A woman would constantly ask a man, am I your best friend? And they're kind of upset when the truth come out like, nah, you're not. You're my lady, but you're not my best friend.
Right.
Because you put me to too much unnecessary debates and arguments about things that is fucking up my sanity. Pardon me, the cussing the part.
Okay.
But it messes up my sanity. So if my sanity's not there, then I can't consider to be my best friend, because my best friends know how to protect my sanity.
I got it. You have any regret when it comes to love?
Regrets to come to love, yes. A whole lot of regrets when it comes to love. And
I was saying you lost for words. I'm sorry.
there's a whole lot of
I'm trying
regrets
to
because
think
let me say something. We in life again. It's always in this life. We have ran through relationships. We ran through people,
Good
that
people, right?
good people, and you think back like, damn, I wish I would have done that relationship a little different. I wish I was wise enough to maturity, because a lot of time people want each other to be in a space that they have. You haven't mentally gotten there yet. That's why you have this stage. You got knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Sometimes a lot of us is stuck in the knowledge and wisdom aspect of life.
Right.
It's only when you really hit them and you in that understanding point of life. This is why I love speaking with elders. An elder will constantly tell you, I don't care what you're going to enjoy life. Don't let that girl run you crazy. Don't let that man run you crazy.
Yeah.
Soon as they acting crazy, you going back out there and enjoy life. You know why? Because they sat in those chairs and they were stressed out and depressed. And what they have found out in reaching their age is the fact that they stopped enjoying their stuff. They stopped living life because they were so miserable at this stage of life. So this is why they'll constantly tell you, Go and enjoy life. Smile and go, because don't be me who missed out on all this enjoyment of life. And here that is, I'm knocking on death's door.
And you're right, because I've read, they said that when men and women are on their deathbed, that they never say what they regret doing. They regret all the things they didn't do.
They didn't do. Exactly.
So I really like that. One last question. You know, anybody can say my favorite topic is love and relationships. That's why I'm just badgering you. When's the first time you fell in love? How old were you?
Wow. First time I fell in love. Oh, wow. Oof. I fell in love. My first time I fell in love was I was living in East New York. I fell in love with, matter of fact, the person I fell in love with, I actually wound up naming my sister, my biological sister, her after her.
Nice.
So I had puppy love. I fell in love with a puppy love.
That's nice. And that's what I see with that video.
Yeah,
it looks like a puppy love type of thing. Are you into sports?
Yes, I'm into sports.
You are?
Yes,
Who's your favorite team?
New York everything. I'm New York across the board. Even though we're doing bad at some things, but I'm New York across the board.
Who's your favorite rapper? Female and male, please.
I'm so caught up on Jay-Z. I'm so caught up on MOPs.
Okay.
I'm also caught up on it's a few of them, but them my top as far as a group, as far as an individual. And I'm a Lauryn Hill.
Nice.
I'm even loving Cardi B. I'm loving what Cardi B is doing. I love her anger. I love what she brings to the table. So, you know, and my Rockboy G's, you know.
I love it. What's the last
book
producer.
You read? Who?
Last book you read. And what book has stuck with you
If I
in your
Knew
life?
Then.
Okay.
That is the last book I've actually reading, If I Knew Then.
Okay, I might have to have you come back and interview me on that when we get to the end of it, okay?
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Have you read a book like when you were locked up that stuck with you?
Wow. There's so many books I read that stuck with me. But one in particular, when I read a book, one that made me step into another stage of my life was I read a book on signs.
Okay.
This book on signs was basically talking about all the astrology signs, and I was forced to read the book. I didn't want to read the book. I read the book on default because it was the only book that happened
Where
to
were
be.
you?
I was in the box at this time.
What's that?
The box is called SHU. It's like special unit where when you did something wrong, it put you in the box.
You locked up by yourself.
Locked up on 23 hours and 7 days a week inside of a box by yourself. And they
How
had
long did you stay in there that time?
That particular time, I think I was in the 2 years, 18 months to 2 years. But anyway, this book came through, and I didn't want to read the book, but it was the last tangible book to read on the book card. Mm-hmm. And I read it, and that book changed my life. And it basically talked about your signs. And this book told me everything I was and why I move and basically react the way I react. Wow. Once I got that jewel on who I was from that book, I learned how to control me much better and had a better understanding of me.
I love it. And it was on astrology. You don't remember
it was on astrology. It was called let me tell you something. It was too much to grasp about trying to read into everybody's life. I just took what was for me, and it made me a much better person.
Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Wow. I have too many. I don't even have one I don't have one that's coming to me right now, but I'm a movie fanatic. I love all the Marvel movies, but I don't have one in particular that I'm recalling right now. Love and Basketball.
Oh, that was a good one. Okay. So when you see someone is not conducive to where you're trying to go in life, and say it's somebody you've been friends with for years, or you have a relationship, or even a family member, how do you go about cutting them off? How do you get out of that? Or no, this person can't be in my space without being, you're a kind person. I could tell you don't like to hurt people's feelings. Like, do you just do the shut off? Do you give them a piece of your mind and say, this is why you can't be in my life anymore? How does that go for you?
I give them a piece of my mind and tell them why they can't be in my circle no more.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I love it. Okay, so as we're winding down to get out of here, I need you to tell the people how they could hear your music, where your music is found, and possibly, do you have any performances coming up where people could come and watch your show? I'd love to see you and your Can I say crew, or am I too old fashioned to see you and your crew perform?
Yeah, we just recently did SOBs. We got a few things coming up at the top of the year right now. Matter of fact, we having a label meeting the first week of January for what's coming, what's our updated shows coming in.
Right.
But for me, you could type in everything Berry Goodz. That's BerryGoodz on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, or go to www.rockboyrecords.com and read everything with us.
Barry, you had a very interesting life, the little bit that I know of you, but I'm wondering, is there anything about your life? I know it's a corny question, but I'm very serious. Would you change anything, even though we know everything you've been through, every struggle has made you the man that you are today? Is there anything that you would change that happened to you from young up to now?
I don't have one thing that I would know. Put like this.
Mm-hmm.
The ending results I love.
Okay.
So to get this ending results, I had to go through all of it. So right now, I would not change anything because I don't know what the outcome would be. So I'm grateful for where I landed today, despite that. So to throw a magical thing of what I would change, I don't know. I really don't, because I love the results.
Okay.
I love the results of what happened, despite how rough it was.
I love it. It reminds me.
Despite being grown up broke, despite having to eat grits and cheese every day, despite having holes in sneakers, despite all this stuff, despite losing parents, despite not knowing dads, despite all this stuff, like I don't know what the results would have turned out to be, but I know I love the results that what I did go through has resulted in.
It reminds me a little bit of a story in the Bible of many people, but Joseph went to prison and he didn't do anything wrong, but he went to prison but he came back and ended up blessing his whole family. And his struggle was just horrible. He got sent to prison. Somebody's wife lied on him, said he tried to sleep, but he got sent back to prison, and he didn't do these things. But so it's just a reminder that no matter what our struggle is, no matter what we've been through, that it's going to be something on the other side, if we hold on to it.
Right.
And so I appreciate your music. You should write a book. You never thought about writing a book?
I'm thinking about it. It's still a thought. It's still a good thought.
Back in the day, we had some really, really, really good African-American leaders. Do you see any leaders out there that you appreciate?
Minister Farrakhan.
That's it. I love him. He's on my TikTok. He comes up with some good stuff.
Minister Farrakhan, all day long. All day long. There's others, but that's my go-to right there. Right?
He's a great guy. I heard you say that when people call from prison, even though you've been out a while, you got out in, what did you say before 2008?
I came on August 8th of 2008.
Okay. So that's a long time. And you still take calls from prison today?
Still take calls. I still visit prison today. I still take all that. I'm still connected to that aspect of life. And I make grown men smile when I step into them and go check up, or when I'm taking their calls, or when I'm saying whatever it is I'm doing, And I do it because it's the right thing to do for me.
And I love that. And I love that my audience gets to hear, because the Leslie T. Marshall experience is about explaining and showing people's experiences. And after talking to you, and even while I was doing the research, I had to take back judgment that I've had on people because of circumstances that they've been through publicly and privately. And so indirectly, you made me check myself, because maybe I would have ran across somebody like you and say, oh, he's been in prison, like this guy, what did he do? And then to come to find out all these great things. And I hope that somebody's listening, somebody's watching, to know that you take the time, even though you got out of prison in 2008, that's big. That speaks a lot of you. It speaks a lot of your character. And I'm just excited to know somebody like you. Well, to me, let me shake your hand. I didn't shake your hand. Thank you so much for coming on.
Much appreciated. We appreciate
T. Marshall experience. And I hope we'll hear more from you in the future. And sometimes I need a co-host, so maybe you could come on here and help me interview some people.
I would greatly appreciate you if you did invite me as a
Okay, thank you.
co-host.
We're not rich over here yet, so we can't pay you what they paying you, with all your little endeavors that you're doing. But it's been
We
such a
work it out.
pleasure having you on the Leslie T. Marshall Experience. And let's give it up. Please go and check out his music. It's really, really good, y'all. I'm old-fashioned, but I'm not that old-fashioned. If you listen to the lyrics, you play it in your car, maybe at home, you find your favorite song. Get back to me. Tell me what is your favorite song. And Kareem, Mr. Berry Goodz, it's been so great having you on our show today. And I hope that you will come back and this will not be the last time that we hear from you, because I know probably in the future you're going to have something else going on. So thanks again for stopping at the Leslie T. Marshall. We really, really appreciate having you.
I appreciate you for finding interest in wanting to call me onto your platform.
We only call the best here. So if you have a compelling story or something you think that will make somebody feel inspired to move on and get through whatever they've been through, please contact us. We would love to have you. Have an amazing day. And thank you for stopping by the Leslie T. Marshall Experience.